Happy Combine Week, everybody, and welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. I hope you guys are having a fantastic start to your week as it is a Monday. Busy week ahead. Just want to kind of tease off the top here. Tomorrow, we have boots on the ground in Indianapolis. I'm not there, but Chat Sports has a large group there. I think we have 8 people out there. So we will post the Ryan Poles and the Ben Johnson press conferences here on the channel. Poles talks at 9:15 Central Time, so that should be out before 10 o'clock. And then Ben Johnson speaks at 10:30, so that should be out before noon. So those will be kind of morning episodes tomorrow, and then we'll have kind of an afternoon roundup tomorrow as well. Then all week long, we hear from prospects, news, and rumors will be flying around the team. So going to be a fun week. Always love this time of year in the NFL offseason calendar. All right, shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from. Colin, it is Combine Week, which is always a fun one. Kind of feels like this is really the week the offseason starts to ramp up.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those weeks where you've mentioned it a couple times, but I'll reiterate it here. A lot of these GMs are going to be in the same place at the same time. Not every GM and not every head coach, if you're covering, say, I don't know, the Jags, but there are some teams that are, most teams are going to be represented at the NFL Combine. So not only are they going to be, looking at the draft prospects, potentially making some, adjustments to their big board, so to speak, but also with trade rumors and, this, that, and the other, maybe teams that are looking to release some players, kind of maybe putting some feelers out there, say the Chicago Bears. Hey, does anybody interested in this guy, Tremaine Edmonds? He's a pretty good player, does anybody want him for a late round pick swap? Who knows? But yeah, a lot of stuff's flying by this week, and I'm excited.
Yeah, should be a fun week. You're already seeing some news trickling around the league. Mike Dana got caught by the Chiefs. Andrew Wiley got re-signed by Washington. Franchise tag news with Kyle Pitts and George Pickens flying around. So it's a fun week, and it's exciting time. Someone says in the chat, I thought Cullen left. Based on what?
Oh, is this because I'm dead, allegedly?
I missed that. What is that?
Remember, because it was the announcement that when I started hosting, everyone thought I was.
Oh.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, maybe he hasn't been here since that episode. But,
maybe.
No, Cullen is still very much here. He does host our Jags channel as well, but he is still rocking and rolling with us here on Bears Now. All right, we'll get your thoughts on this, and then I do want to get to a couple super chats. Would you rather go edge or defensive tackle in round 1? Edge or D-tack? Now, tough question to answer considering we haven't seen free agency play out, which obviously comes first, but would you rather go edge or defensive tackle? I think my answer is going to end up being D-tack because I think it's easier to address edge in free agency and or the trade market. So I would say that. Now, if all things are equal and it's not based on free agency, I could go either way. I think there's some interesting players at both positions that could be available at 25 overall. So going to be interesting to see what happens leading up to the draft. But obviously the Bears need to bolster their defensive line. So I would expect a notable investment in both positions, at least one player early in the draft and at least one player in free agency or via trade to cover off those two positions would be my guess.
Yeah, I think defensive tackle just makes the most sense. I mean, look, the Bears have to get better at getting after the quarterback. I think there's no doubt about that from Bears fans or anybody who follows this team even remotely closely. And if you're looking at this from a trade/free agency point, and again, realistic trades, people that are at least rumored to potentially maybe be on the move / who are going to be free agents, defensive tackle in terms of guys that can get after the quarterback, it's really limited. In fact, in free agency pool, I mean, John Franklin Myers, you've highlighted this, Harry, is really the main one in terms of this class who's going to be available, and he might command a per year basis of, I mean, dare I say, like $20-ish million like per year.
Yeah, and that's why I've always said
it's going to be expensive.
That's why I've thought recently defensive tackle in round 1 might be the way to go because there's just not that like big-time defensive tackle available. Now, there's nice players. I mean, I wouldn't mind like a DJ Reader on a friendly type of deal to throw into your rotation or someone like that, but I'm not going to give Franklin Myers a massive contract. I don't want to get in that bidding war if I'm Chicago, so I just think there's so many tiers of options to address edge. That doesn't mean you couldn't also double down and take an edge in the draft early on, but I just think if you handle edge before the draft, that gives you flexibility. And I gotta turn this fan on real quick to go elsewhere in the first round, maybe even safety. Could take a safety in the first round. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I think clearly the Bears are going to look to bolster both these positions.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it leading up to the draft last year, right? Certain positions that the Bears could target in terms of improving their roster before the 2025 NFL season. And lo and behold, Colston Loveland, who was very high on their board, obviously, was there available at 10. They ultimately draft him. And it was a
highest graded rookie per PFF this year.
Yeah, really successful pick by the Chicago Bears. So even if you go in to free agency and maybe they do make a trade or two, an investment in this defensive line, that who's to say that maybe a player that falls a little bit from maybe the top 10 or maybe the early teens or something is available there for the Bears at 25, and they have to kind of pivot their plans. So a lot of different ways that they could go here. I mean, I do think that if the Bears are trying to plan this out, the best thing that you could do, and Harry, feel free to obviously chime in on this, when you're a general manager, you want to give yourself the most amount of options, the most amount of ways to pivot. Obviously, you want great football players, but in terms of trying to how you're strategically going to attack the draft and free agency, obviously, yes, you have to fulfill needs, but realize where the resources are for those needs.
Exactly. I mean, I think the Bears did some forward thinking on that last year by going with a more heavy offensive draft. Like, hey, let's help Caleb here and now. Next year seems to be a deeper defensive line draft. That obviously played out to be the case. So, yeah, I mean, it's not only within one offseason, but sometimes thinking multiple. And I think the Bears did a good job last year in hitting on some offensive pieces, and now they got to hit on some defensive pieces. And how they do that, whether that's via trade, free agency, draft, or a combination, that's what they got to figure out what their best course of action is, and the ability to pivot quickly if Plan A falls apart. Maybe Plan A is sign Trey Hendrickson. Well, what if the Bengals franchise tag him? So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a busy week here in Indianapolis. All right, Posey Jones says, you guys didn't mention that Velus Jones has a Super Bowl ring. I also want a defensive tackle plus safety plus edge, first 3 picks. Yeah, if things fell perfectly, that'd be nice to kind of just ding, 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 there you go in the draft. But BPA's got to play a big role too. Don't want to force a position if the board doesn't make sense to go with that position, but I hear you. I don't know if you're trolling on Velus or not, but why would I mention that Velus Jones has a Super Bowl? And probably it has been brought up on this show in all likelihood. So, yeah, don't really care that a former Bear who was a practice squad player on the Seahawks has a Super Bowl ring. So, hey.
He was a talented gunner on punt.
He did have a couple nice plays on punt coverage. Did you know in real time on a couple of those where you're like, oh, there's Velus Jones?
I'm not going to lie. So they showed a replay during it, one of Michael Dixon's punts, and I was just like, that's Velus. That's Velus Jones. And I kind of laughed a little bit, and everyone's just kind of like, why are you laughing?
The best gunner to get drafted in the 3rd round we've ever seen.
I mean, it was unreal.
He can't return punts. He can't return kicks. He can't catch the football, but he's pretty good as a gunner on special teams.
Yeah. Listen, 10 years down the line, no one's going to remember Velus Jones won a Super Bowl ring. I'll be completely honest.
I will, but no one else will.
There we go. It won't be in terms of the mainstream kind of front forehead of it. So.
Yeah, when the Seahawks do their 10-year later anniversary and he's on the –
Will he get an invite?
That's a great question.
Will he get an invite?
He might not. He might be in the stands, but he won't be on the field.
Hey. Yeah.
But hey, he's getting a ring, so there you go.
There you go.
I spent way too much time on Velus Jones on this show, but hey, Posey Jones sent a super chat, so we appreciate it. Braden Hall, how do you feel about Caleb picking up Crosby from
O'Hare,
not even 15 minutes ago? I didn't even see that. Is that true?
Rumors are swirling.
That feels like fake news, but I have not seen it.
Is that one of those, Crosby seen in Chicago O'Hare Airport, and it's the generic photo?
Nope. He got by Adam Farrell, the new fake insider. Have you seen that account?
I have not seen it, but you figured that was going to be a troll. That would have been mainstream news if that was actually the case.
Yeah, my Adam Farrell is unfortunately fake news. I'm going to go to this. He does tag an IG account, though. Let me see. This is going to be like some crazy inappropriate account, I bet. Let's see.
Remember, while Harry's doing that, guys, use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get in our mailbag segment that we are going to be getting into later on in this live show. If you guys want to ask some questions here as we're kind of opening things up.
It's not even a real account. So.
It's not even real.
Not even a real IG account, so yeah.
Feel free to send those in as well.
Yeah, but fire in those questions. We'll get them answered.
Next one loading in from Aaron Wolf. Bear down, Indiana Bears.
JB Prickster.
Prickster.
I actually don't think they're going to Indiana, based on some things I've heard. Can't say more, but I'll leave it at that. I do think Illinois ends up working out. But it's been an ugly, windy path. Nothing's finalized either way, but I think in the end, I've shifted back based on things I've heard. I'll give Illinois a 61% chance right now. Very specific number, 61%.
Aaron, what photo is that from? I'm trying to think of what, because that's clearly a countdown to kickoff photo in ahead of the White House. What game was that? You don't have to super chat, but just let us know down below what game that was taken from. I'm just genuinely kind of curious.
It's a good question.
If you want to answer down below in the chat, greatly appreciate it.
Does Aaron even know?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
All right, we got a lot to get to. Cody says 10 grand they're going to Northwest Indiana. I would sit on that money right now.
I want that bet any day.
They could take that deal right now if they wanted it. There's a reason they haven't. So it doesn't mean they won't go. There is a chance they go to Indiana, but Illinois is very much still in play.
He says one of the last games of the season. I don't remember which one it was.
Okay.
Touche.
Okay.
Great photo nonetheless.
All right, hit that like button. We got a lot to discuss. Let's get more Bears fans in here. Appreciate you guys for all tuning in. The NFL Combine is here this week, and we get to see a lot of the top draft prospects in Indianapolis. So I'm going to take a close look at 5 players that Bears fans should keep a close eye on, and then obviously we'll kind of sprinkle in a few more at those positions as I do one player from 5 different positions. We'll take your questions. Hashtag Bears, Super Chat. If you Super Chat, guaranteed to get on the show, or you can use hashtag Bears.
Malik Willis and Ty Simpson on the Browns' radar as
yeah,
QB
I told JOD.
I'm sorry, but yeah, Cabot just got aggregated. But
Mary Kay dropping the news. Hashtag Bears, Super Chat. Get those questions in. Free agency, draft, trades.
Juggalotas asks, who did Chat Sports send to the Combine?
So we've got Tom Downey.
Yep.
We've got one of our producers, Aiden. We've got
Did Billy go?
Billy is there, and then we've got
Chase Sr.,
Chase, Marshall, Mitchell Renz,
Sam
Brown, and Jake Chipper. So 8 people, combination of hosts and producers.
Yeah.
Joey did not go.
No Joey.
Neither of our Joeys went.
Yeah. No Harrys, no Cullens either. We are here in Dallas with you guys.
Here in Dallas, so if the Bears had a higher pick, maybe I would have gone this year, but I'm hanging back. So
we may have done Bears live solo.
I was hoping for we were hoping for the Super Bowl, but it didn't happen. I was, at least. Cullen wasn't for different reasons, but he got to see his own team play. So all right, let's get to it. Remember, fire in those questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat, and we will get as many of those answered here on the show. It is NFL Combine week, and so it's time to take a closer look at some of these draft prospects. That's what we're going to do here on today's show. I'm going to take a look at 5 NFL draft prospects that Bears fans should keep a close eye on, and then a few honorable mentions at each of those positions as I take a look at one player from 5 different positions. This is Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham, and just a little kind of look ahead here, the NFL Combine schedule. Tomorrow, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson speak to the media. Poles at about 9:15 Central Time, Johnson 10:30. We will post both of those press conferences here on the channel. So if you want to hear from the Bears GM and head coach, we got you covered. Those will be published as videos Polls probably by about 10 o'clock. Ben Johnson sometime before lunchtime, and then we'll have a normal afternoon video. Wednesday through Saturday is some of the player press conferences, so we'll have relevant clips posted here on our channel, shorts, within shows, etc. And then player workouts Thursday through Sunday, which obviously polls and the scouts will keep a close eye on. So it's a busy week, and I'm excited to cover it all. And like I said, subscribe to the channel because we will bring you those press conferences tomorrow. Turn on those notifications so you never miss out on when we publish content here on Bears Now by Chat Sports. And we will continue to do that here on a daily basis. Okay, first draft prospect to watch is Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Clemson, who before this college football season was like a lock top 10 pick and then didn't have the best year. So you kind of look at the pros and cons for the Clemson defensive tackle. You've seen the pass rush flashes, not as much this year, but throughout his 3-year career, they're there. He defends the run well. He turns 21 in March, so he's a young prospect, kind of like a Colston Loveland from last year. Plenty of room to grow. And despite being a younger guy, he does have 3 years of experience, 24 career starts, 35 career games played. Some of the cons. You could argue he had pound for pound the worst year of his career. Now, statistically, in volume stats, he was better than his freshman year, but I would say on a per snap basis, he had the worst of his 3-year college career. It wasn't bad, but wasn't as good as his other 2 years. That production did decline from year 2 to year 3. He's kind of an in-between guy, I think. 3-tech, 1-tech hybrid. And I think that could have led to some of the production dip this year. He kind of shed some weight and became a leaner D-tack, and they wanted to make him more of a 3-tech. And I think long-term, that's probably going to benefit him, but I think that did lead to some of the production issues this season. And there's been some whispers that his arm length might be lacking. So from a Bears standpoint, we know they like those bigger, physical, longer athletes. So we'll see kind of what those measurements look like. But there's a lot of pros and cons to all these defensive tackles, guys who could go in the first round. Peter Woods, we just mentioned Caleb Banks, who could be athletically the most gifted with his size, strength, and athleticism. But he has a foot injury on his record, and he's 24 years old, so he's an older prospect. Caden McDonald, probably the best run defender of the group. Don't like him from what I've seen on tape as a pass rusher, but he's 21 years old. Could that come? Could that be developed? Certainly possible. Lee Hunter, he's kind of more up and down throughout his college career, but his highs might be as high as any of these guys. Also an older prospect. And then Kristen Miller has played probably the least amount of football because Georgia rotates a lot, but he's also a young player, 21, 22 years old, with some upside as well. That's who I took in the Bears last mock draft at 25 overall. And I think when you look at all these different things, age differences, pros and cons to their games, I think the testing will really matter because I don't think there's an obvious, like, this guy is by far, based on the tape, the best defensive tackle. I think you really could make arguments for any of those 5 players. So the testing, the interviews will make a big difference. And so, I mentioned Peter Woods, but really that whole group of defensive tackles are guys to watch because the Bears could very well go in that direction in the first round at number 25 overall. Okay, let's go to an edge rusher, Akheem Mesidor, who I think his tape, if you just took age, injury history, everything out of it, and you just said, hey, what does the tape from 2025 tell me? I think he's a top 10, top 8 player in this class. He was incredible. Ruben Bain gets a lot of credit. Mesidor at times I thought was actually better on the other side. The production speaks for itself right there. But he turns 25 in April. So that's concerning from you're losing out on like half, 2/3 of a potential contract if you take him in the first round. And also, is he just a older, more established, physically gifted player taking advantage of younger college football players? Maybe, maybe not. His production stayed up throughout the playoff, which I think is important because you're going up against the best in the country. But I do think that's a legitimate concern. If I'm going to draft a 25-year-old in the first round at a position of need, he needs to contribute at a pretty notable level right away. I'm not saying he's got to be Will Anderson, but you got to give me a handful of sacks and flash a lot as a rookie. And by year 2, you got to be like a good starter. Otherwise, that's a miss of a pick because he'll be 26 years old in year 2. But, man, his tape is phenomenal. Like I said, if he was 22, I think he'd be a lock top 10 pick. He's still probably going to go top 20, top 25. If he's there at 25, I'd be tempted based on the board. And the Bears need dudes on their defensive line. I think just from a can you rush the passer or not standpoint, he checks that box. And I think the measurables will be good enough. What's the injury history and how concerning is the age? Those are the two questions that the Bears have to figure out, obviously, in the interview and the medical testing process. Some other edges that could be in play with the 25th pick, Keldrick Falk, a big physical kind of brunt type of edge rusher that could kick inside some. Not the most fluid athlete, but will set the edge in the run game. TJ Parker, similar. I think he's got a little more juice than Falk as a pass rusher. Probably not as much versatility in terms of being able to kick inside. Cassius Howe, more of a speed rusher, but he's got multiple pass rush moves. Is he a fit in a 4-3 Dennis Allen scheme? I don't know. I'm curious to see what he measures in at. And then Zion Young, I do think checks some boxes, but he's got some off-field concerns, so that'll be something the Bears have to look into as well. Okay, you guys tell me, would you rather go edge or defensive tackle in round one? Obviously, free agency comes first. Trade market could unfold in the next few weeks as well. There's more access to edge rushers that can help this team pre-draft than there are defensive tackles. So if you can do that, take care of the edge position for the most part before the draft, then that frees you up to go defensive tackle, safety, BPA, gives you more options once the draft gets here. Okay, Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle out of Georgia, who's starting to gain some steam. And I got to be honest, I don't even know if he'll be available at 25, especially if he has a strong week in Indianapolis. But I will just say this. Do not sleep on left tackle in the first round. You have an offensive head coach. You have a team that is looking to take even another step with this quarterback offensively. If they like a player at 25, and if that's a BPA situation, I don't think they'll be scared at taking a left tackle at 25 overall. And you might ask, well, what happens when Ozzie Trapillo comes back? Well, he's dealing with the serious injury, probably won't even play this year. And when he is healthy, you can cross that bridge when it gets here. If they like a guy that they can plug and play at left tackle in the first round, I think they would absolutely be willing to do that. We'll talk more about Monroe Freeling here in just a second. But today's show is sponsored by Ethos. Guys, life insurance is so important. It's not fun to talk about, but it's critical, especially if you're like me and you have a wife and a child to think about. Thinking about their livelihoods made it easier to discuss, and I'm so glad I found Ethos as my life insurance provider. I carry a lot of responsibility at home. If something happened to me, there's real consequences, everyday bills, tuition, mortgage payments. Those things don't just go away. Life can throw you curveballs, and it's best that you stay prepared. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. Ethos has no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, and some policies are as low as $30 per month with Ethos. Ethos has a 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews, so don't just take my word for it. Take thousands of others. Help protect your family with life insurance through Ethos. Get instant free quote today at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. It's Ethos. Check it out right now. Okay, I thought this was an interesting note from Field Yates, and I've kind of seen this sentiment go around. He says, Monroe Freeling, 6'7", 315 pounds with 35-inch arms. He doesn't have extensive experience compared to the other offensive tackles in this class, and he could fill out his frame more. But I believe he has the highest upside of any offensive tackle in this class, and I'm bullish on the player. A lot of stuff you hear about this guy. Very athletic, has the measurables, room to grow. Georgia loved him in terms of how much he improved this season. And again, you don't have an answer right now at left tackle. Maybe it's Theo Benedict, who they exercised his tender. He's on the team, but clearly they don't feel great about that. It's just your everyday left tackle. I'm eager. I think he's a guy to watch this week. How does he test? Could he run a sub 540 at that size? Does he have the strength to match it? How does he do on the bench press? I think that's something to watch because his frame could be filled out more. Maybe he doesn't have quite the brute that you're looking for, but I think he's a guy in Indy that can really help or hurt his stock, I think, because of the limited experience. Only 16 career starts. It's not a ton. It's about a year and a quarter, year and a half. So keep an eye on Monroe Freeling. He's been moving up draft boards. He puts a strong weekend today. He probably solidifies himself as a first-round pick, if not a top 20 type of guy. Some other left tackles that could be in play at 25 overall. Caden Proctor out of Bama, who's obviously an interesting player as well with his size, strength, athleticism combo, but some inconsistent play. And then Caleb Lomu, the other Utah offensive tackle. Spencer Fano played right tackle for Utah, but Lomu could go in the first round as well. So we will watch him also. Okay, Jacob Rodriguez, not a first-round guy, but a day 2 prospect who could solidify day 2 status and maybe even second-round status if he has a really strong week. I just think he's a fascinating prospect in general because he was so productive. Texas Tech has so many good pros on that defense, but he was kind of the engine. He was kind of the quarterback of that defense. The production was off the charts. The instincts are off the charts. He had a great Senior Bowl week. The question we all want to know is, how will he test? How athletic is he? If he can just be middle to above average in a lot of the testing areas, I think he's a day 2 pick because his instincts are so good that he doesn't need to be a guy that has a 9.6 RAS out of 10. RAS season is back, baby. We'll be keeping an eye on that this week. But, I love watching him play. He's always around the football. He's smart as hell. If his testing can be above average, would love him in the 3rd round, would even be open-minded in the 2nd round, depending on what the Bears do in free agency. And obviously, look, the linebacker's a position to watch. As of filming this, Tremaine Edmonds hasn't been cut, but that is an expectation. TJ Edwards, Noah Sewell recovering from injuries. DeMarco Jackson is set to be a free agent here. Unclear if he's going to be back. The Bears need to get faster and younger on defense, especially at linebacker. And I love Jacob Rodriguez's tape. Does he help you get faster? Again, I don't need a blazer. I just need fast enough out of him because the instincts will take care of the rest. So excited to see what he can do. Okay, Kyle Lewis, he might be the opposite of Jacob Rodriguez. And what I mean by that is he may not be like a pure linebacker, but his athletic traits are very interesting, and he's going to test really, really well. He could be more of a 3rd-round guy. You see Anthony Hill. Could he fall to 57? Maybe, maybe not. I mocked Jake Golday to the Bears at 57 recently. Deontay Lawson, probably more of a 3rd-round guy for me. I don't know if he'd fall to 89, but he might be in between that 57 to 89 metric. And then you've got Rodriguez and Lewis, who could be late 2nd to mid-late 3rd round, depending on how this week goes. Okay, last prospect to take a close look at is a guy I mocked to the Bears a few weeks back, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. This guy is fun to watch on tape. And yeah, you might say, well, it's the MAC. Oh, these Toledo guys tend to pan out, man. Quinyon Mitchell, one of the better corners in the league. They've had a few other guys over the years as well. And I think Daniel Jeremiah, I saw, has him as his 15th overall prospect. So guys in NFL circles really like him. He may not even make it to 25 overall. But certainly when you do come from a small school, you want to take advantage of these opportunities, right? You get to the combine in front of all 32 teams. You want to test well. You want to interview well. And if he does do those things, I think he's a first-round lock. The question would be whether or not he would fall to 25th overall. I love the energy he plays with. That's what everyone talks about with this guy. You can see that on tape, the effort, just rallying to the football in the run game, and obviously ball hawking on the back end as well. And I love that versatility. I think he could play both safety spots. I think you could get some nickel out of this guy. I don't think he's going to give you quite the physicality of a Nicky Manwari, but I do see some shades of that with this guy where you can ask him to do different things. So depending on what the Bears do at safety in free agency, this could be a fun chess piece for Dennis Allen to add to the secondary. Some other safeties to watch. Obviously, you're not going to get Caleb Downs, barring a weird scenario, but Dylan Thieneman, there's a lot of debate between him and EMW, who's the second safety in this class. I think both guys are really versatile and have that upside. I just think EMW can do a little bit more. AJ Halsey is a fun player on day 2. Kamari Ramsey as well. Then Zakee Wheatley is gaining some steam. I think he's a day 2 lock. The only question is, could he sneak up into the 2nd round? Right now, he's probably more in that 3rd round range. Okay, name a sleeper prospect for me. Who's someone that's just off the grid that I need to look into this week in Indianapolis? Drop their name in the comments section of this video. My name is Harrison Graham. Hopefully you guys made it to the end of the video. If you did, we greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Coverage all week long from the NFL Combine, so stay tuned and subscribe. Alrighty.
Get your St. Patty's Green River gear today.
Chatsports.com/Bears shop. That's going to redirect you to our entire shop, but the items you'll see listed first are the Green River gear. You got the hoodies in navy and black. The T-shirts are available in green, navy, and black as well. No green hoodies because the hoodie line we use was more of like a Packers green. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So if you want the T-shirt in green, you can get it. But if you don't want to get pinched on St. Patty's, they all have green. The river has you covered there. So no one does Chicago better, or no one does St. Patty's Day better than Chicago. QB1 turning the river green there. You got the mascot hanging out the skyline. Really love this drop. So take advantage. Order it while you still can get it well ahead of St. Patty's Day. Chatsports.com/bear shop. You'll find all the other stuff as well. The Iceman gear, the FGB line, and a whole lot more. We got some hats dropping soon, I think, so be on the lookout for that. But plenty of support from you guys on the merch since we launched with Cardiac Bears after the Bears went over the Eagles on Black Friday. So appreciate the support, and spread the word. If you're like, hey, I'm all merched out or I can't spend anymore right now, share with your buddies. Be like, hey, go check this stuff out. It's pretty cool. So greatly appreciate it. Chatsports.com/Bears shop. Okay, we have another Cullen draft crush. It is a cornerback today out of Ohio State. Why don't you tell us about this fella? I actually have not looked into this guy. So.
Davison Igbinosun.
Igbinosun, okay.
Davison Igbinosun.
That's a big Gus Johnson guy. Igbinosun with the breakup.
Listen, this guy has elite combination of height, length, and speed, and physicality for that matter. He is just a guy that...
Sounds like a Dennis Allen corner.
Yep, 6'2", 195 pounds. He's going to be somebody that I've seen different kind of perspectives on here. PFF has him as about a 4th-round grade. I've seen other guys have him ranked in the 2nd, 3rd round. He's kind of all over the place. I'm telling you this much. If he somehow were to fall to day 3, snatch him up if you're Dennis Allen.
It's only 21 still.
Yeah, still young. So to give you kind of a little bit of background on this guy, he started 10 games at Ole Miss when he was a freshman, originally as a 4-star recruit, and then transferred to Ohio State where he was a starter ever since transferring to Ohio State. He's a guy that's got, I think he's going to test really well at the combine. Elite long speed, rangy, like I said. He's got the really combination of length, speed, and just overall height that you really like in a corner. Fluid hip and transition. So how many times did we talk about Nashawn Wright whenever he would kind of have those crossing over routes and just not the ability to flip his hip and kind of trail him? This guy can do it, no problem. Good awareness in zone. His explosive plant and drive ability. So if he's kind of sitting there playing off coverage, he's not afraid to attack the football. Physical at the line of scrimmage.
I was going to say, I'm going through his career, his run defensive grades are excellent, really starting as a freshman.
Yeah,
so.
Strong tackler. He takes good angles. He's a willing tackler, too, and, again, not afraid to get physical. If anything, one of his cons is the fact that he can get a little too physical. He did have 12 penalties last season. I think he was down to 5 this season, so, again, not great, but...
5's not too bad for a corner.
Yeah. But still, something that he could potentially, work on. His feet can also get a little heavy at the top of routes. He does rely on his recovery speed a little bit instead of actual technique there. So not something that you ideally love. Occasionally loses leverage on double moves, relying, again, on that recovery speed. But he's somebody that I think if you coach him up and give him the proper technique, similar to how Dennis Allen likes to use corners, this is a guy that could be a starting cornerback in the NFL for years to come. I'm really a fan of his tape.
Yeah, he would be an interesting guy if he did fall to the 4th. Do you think when the Bears pick at 89, is that probably like
that's where
in the range probably?
Yeah,
early 3rd to mid 4th, somewhere in that range?
I don't think he'll quite go as high as round 2, although, I mean, again, you never know with some team if they fall in love with the player.
He tests really well, yeah.
I'll say this. He is a guy that I project to be a starting outside cornerback in this league, and if you're sitting there and you're the Bears, obviously, look, you're probably going to lose Nashawn Wright in free agency. Tyreek Stevenson, he's had some ups and downs in his career. I don't think he's solidified that position by any means. You have Kyler Gordon playing the slot. We'll see what happens with Shady Gardner-Johnson. This is a guy, though, that if you want to kind of really reinforce that outside cornerback position, and again, talking about getting faster, this guy's going to test well. I'm willing to bank on it. So I think he could contribute to an NFL level, both in man and zone schemes, graded out well in both.
Gives you security beyond this year, too, because, Tyreek Stevenson, final year of his rookie deal. Terrell Smith, who will come back and compete for a role, final year of his rookie deal. Jalen Johnson, if next year doesn't go well or if he has injuries, 2027 offseason is when the Bears can really get out of his contract if they want to. So I do like the idea of adding a corner somewhere between the 3rd and the 5th round, just a guy who's probably not a starter as a rookie, but a guy you can develop and just add into the mix. And because while the cornerback room is in okay shape for this year, it's very much a question mark after this year, especially at outside corner. So I do think they will add somebody, whether it's via free agency or the draft.
Yeah. And listen, if they do tend to go this route, I think round 4 would be probably the latest that you could get them. So do the Chicago
They're
Bears.
late in the 4th, too, because it's that Rams pick.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see. Obviously, teams trade around during the draft.
Yeah.
We'll see where they're picking. But
I do have like a later, day 3 corner that we could also, again, maybe at a later episode hit or a later live show hit. I also think he's going to test pretty well at the combine, so maybe he rises up a little bit. But yeah, that was we didn't actually. This is the mistake that we made on last episode. Is I didn't ask you guys what position you wanted next, so we went with corner. Yeah,
so we've done pretty much all the positions that are relevant.
Yeah, I mean we can run through them.
Yeah, I mean we've done so. Igbenogsen's a corner. Kevin Coleman's a receiver. Jamari Taylor is a running back. Cage Casey's an offensive tackle. Kamari Ramsey is a safety. Bryce Betcher's a linebacker. Lee Hunter's a defensive tackle. And Malachi Lawrence is an edge rusher. So where do we want to go next? I mean, I don't think there's any need to do any quarterbacks. We're obviously not going to do any of the specialists. The only position we haven't done yet, I guess, is offensive guard or center. But
which Casey could potentially slide in at guard.
Okay.
But if we want to go again offensive lineman, and
we want to go interior offensive line next, or do we want to kind of start cycling back through at a position we've already hit? So you guys let me know. I see center from Ben.
Interior offensive lineman.
Okay, we can go IOL. Doesn't have to be a center. It can be center or a guard.
Yeah, which again, I think Casey has a really good chance of potentially playing guard at the position, but he's just so technically gifted at tackle that he has that flexibility, depending on where a team just kind of sees him. And he has a pretty good size, too.
Okay. All right. There you have it.
Okay, so TJ, we've got Brandon and Willie. We've not ignored your Super Chats. We're saving them for the mailbag coming up here. Use hashtag Bears or Super Chat.
Get rid of Bates. He's a free agent, so you don't have to get rid of him. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah. Let us know. What are the questions? And again, it could be draft related. It could be a bunch of different options. Let me see how many questions we got. Sports prods. Take it easy on the spamming, by the way.
Yeah, IAG is presenting all of the news. Yeah, Antonio Gibson released, Javonte Williams re-upped with the Cowboys, and Andrew Wiley re-upped with the Commanders. And we are going to talk about Mike Dana coming up on the front end of this mailbag. So fire in those questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions answered on the show. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Let's see.
Jeez. Okay.
What? You good?
Sorry. No, yeah, there's some questions rolling through here. Okay, so we've done that one.
Jason says, I think Smythe won't get re-signed. I can see it either way. I thought he played a nice role as the third tight end, but you can also kind of just find guys, so could depend on price.
Yeah, use those hashtag Bears questions, guys. Let's get in on the mailbag. All right, I think we'll have enough kind of getting through it.
All right, here we go. Hashtag Bears Super Chat. Ask your free agent questions, your draft questions, your trade questions, whatever you got. Just like Steve and DC Viper firing away. All right, we'll get to those questions coming up here on Chicago Bears Now. Could a new free agent target be an option for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears? We're going to talk about it here on Chicago Bears Now. Also, use that hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your question answered here on the show. The Bears could be looking to sign defensive end Michael Dana as he was released by the Chiefs on Monday. Jordan Schultz had that news, so I want to give him credit there. And he's a guy I talked about a couple of years ago. So he re-signed on a 3-year, I think $24 million deal with the Chiefs a couple of off seasons ago, but we discussed him then because I've always liked him as a role player with Kansas City, and obviously Ryan Poles was in that front office when they drafted Dana in like the 5th round, and he kind of turned into a nice player. Pretty good against the run, kind of a flashy pass rusher, hit and miss there. He's never had a great pass rush win rate. But plays with some physicality. Now, 21.5 career sacks, only had 1 this past year, so he kind of fell out of the pecking order there in Kansas City. But as like an edge 4 type or, an edge 5 if you keep 5, I like Mike Dana. He could play on special teams. He could set the edge in the run game. We'll see what happens with a guy like Dominique Robinson and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, but I think he would kind of fall into that realm of, okay, like he's not going to, change the direction of your franchise. But as a guy who has no durability issues, has been healthy, and can hold his own as like your 4th edge rusher, I would not mind that at all. Shouldn't cost much either. I mean, he was making like $8-9 million and he got cut, so you're probably talking, I don't know, $3-4 million on a 1-year deal would be my guess. Maybe even less, could be the vet minimum. So we'll see. Not sure how the Bears view his film. Again, he didn't play. He kind of fell out of favor this year, so the production went down. But he's a player I've always kind of liked from afar. And again, there is a Ryan Poles connection. So whether or not he'd be a Dennis Allen fit, that is up to the Bears to determine. Should the Bears sign Mike Dana? What do you guys think? Type S for sign or type P for pass? Again, we're not. This isn't changing the 2026 Bears, but you need guys like this. You need role players, and I think he can help fill a role if the price is right. All right, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get your questions in. We got Will Edwards with $2. Appreciate it. He says, perfect draft, ? 2 defensive tackles, 2 safeties, 1, I assume, offensive tackle. That's a left tackle, I assume. 1 linebacker, 1 edge. I mean, yeah, like if it could fall perfectly. But you're going to address some of that in free agency. I actually like the idea of drafting a receiver on day 3, depending on what happens with DJ Moore. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we don't know if the Bears are going to trade around either. But, yeah, I mean, you're bolstering up that defense there, and I think that's a good idea. Appreciate the super chat from TJ, $5. Worst NFL team this year? I still think it's the Jets or Cardinals. Most improved this team this year? I'll say the Giants or Saints. Yeah, I don't hate that call on the most improved. We saw the Saints last year take steps down the stretch of the year with Tyler Shuck. The New York Giants obviously missed out on a couple of their coordinator options, but John Harbaugh knows what he's doing. I think they'll be an improved football team playing. I think last place schedule, second to last place. Can't remember if them or the Commanders playing last place. Either way, should be a manageable schedule. The Jets are going to be bad. Cardinals could be bad. Dolphins could be bad. So those are some teams for the worst team in the NFL. But I don't mind your buy on the Giants and the Saints. Before we continue on today's video, here is what I have been trading on Polymarket. In Chicago's Week 17 game against San Francisco, Polymarket was giving Chicago just a 39% chance to win, which I frankly thought was crazy. I thought that was great value for Chicago. The 49ers defense was really struggling at the time, and Chicago's offense had really been coming on. For those reasons, I took Chicago at 39% chance to win the game. $100 would have won me $156. If the Bears took the dub, which they came just one play short, still thought it was great value. Plus, with Polymarket, you could trade in and out on momentum shifts without getting blocked or penalized. With in-game trading, once the Bears got up, I had the option to either write it out or I could have sold early, which I probably should have done. For example, if you buy at 39% and sell at just 55%, you could snag a cool $41 payout, which is awesome, obviously. You can't do this with traditional sportsbooks, so get started today. Polymarket is legal in all 50 states. Download the app now to get on top of the wait list. You're going to want to do that. The only way to do that is by clicking the link down in the description and comments of today's video. Next up, we got Brandon. Is it possible financially to trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick and Max Crosby? The answer to these questions are almost always yes when is it possible? Would I expect it? No, because the cap hit from Crosby is going to be around $30 million for any team that trades for him. And right now, Minka's is 15.6. Now, any team trading for Minka would almost assuredly give him at least a 1-year extension, if not 2 or 3. So then you can lower that cap hit for next year. So again, the answer is yes, they absolutely can. Would they though? I don't know if they would trade for both of those players. Mr. 300, trade DJ Moore in a second for Brian Burns. Man. Brian Burns. Let me see real quick. Let me look at the old contract. I know he signed a big one. He's 28. He'll be 28 this season, so still relatively young. Cap hit for this year would be about $24 million and change, maybe 25. So you wouldn't be saving much to go. You'd actually take on about $8 million to go from DJ to Burns. I mean, Burns is certainly better. Second in the league in sacks. No guarantee money after next year. Second round pick's a lot. Like, what was last? Like, is he going to be a 15 sack guy going forward, or was that kind of a anomaly and he's more of like a 9-10 sack guy? Because that's kind of what he's been. I don't know. I'd have to think about that more. If he's close to what he was this year, I'd say yes. If he reverts back to what he was, I don't know if I want to give up a 2. I might though. It's a late second round pick, and DJ helps you shed some of the money, so I'd consider it. I'd consider it. Okay, subscribe. We have Bears coverage every single day throughout the offseason, the latest news, rumors, draft, free agency content. So turn on those notifications. I'd much rather just do a swap for Kayvon Thibodeau, which we discussed over the weekend. Hopefully you guys check that out regarding a potential Bears-Giants trade. All right, John Dorman, I don't think it's worth taking a safety in the first 4 rounds. It's an undervalued position, and there's a lot of guys in free agency. I mean, yes and no. Like, if you can find that guy, though, that can be like a Nicky Manwari type, I'm not saying as good as him, but someone who can be one of these versatile mismatch defensive backs, I do think those guys are really valuable because it allowed Seattle to sit in nickel even on run obvious downs and still defend the run really well. And that's really hard to do when you're in nickel. So if you can find a guy that can help you do that, I'm not saying any of these guys are that, but if there's someone like that you can find, I think that's valuable. Certainly a Caleb Downs, I think could help you do that. I don't think the Bears will get him. But to your point as well, it is kind of a plug-and-play position. At the same time, though, if you just have guys, like you are going to get exposed by certain teams. But if they wanted to re-sign Kevin Byard for like $8-9 million and then like pair him with like Alohi Gilman or something like that, like it wouldn't be the worst outcome by any means. But I do like the idea of kind of a Swiss Army versatile DB that can do it all in a Dennis Allen defense. I do think that's something that piques my interest. Kiddis, if we go defensive tackle round 1, do you think they target a pass rusher first or more of a run stopper? I don't know. I mean, that probably depends on what they do in free agency. If you sign a Trey Hendrickson, maybe you'd be more inclined to get that run stopper, right? To get a Caden McDonald type because Hendrickson isn't great against the run. You bring in Caden McDonald, who's excellent against the run, and you hope you can develop him to be a decent pass rusher because right now I see a really good defensive tackle against the run that has not flashed much as a pass rusher, but he's only going to be 21 years old, so could still develop that. Peter Woods and Caleb Banks and Lee Hunter have flash upside as a pass rusher, even Kristen Miller to an extent as well, but maybe not quite as stout as defending the run, but I do think all those guys can defend the run. So, again, the answer to that question is probably, how do you feel about the pass rush entering the draft, and is the guy you're drafting, can he develop into being at least a solid pass rusher? Because one thing I do hesitate on is drafting a run-stopping defensive tackle that doesn't give you much as a pass rusher in the first round. Third round, cool. Go stuff the run. But if you're not giving me any juice as a pass rusher, that's a bit of a concern if I'm going to spend a top 30 pick on you. All right, name a player you're watching at the Combine. Who's something you're keeping a close eye on? Let me know in the comment section of this video, as it is NFL Combine week. All right, Save Scum. What a name. $5. Sign Trey Henderson plus trade for Chris Jones. Could you make the cap work, and what would he cost in a trade? Again, kind of like the Crosby Minka idea, the answer is yes. You're going to have to move some money around with cuts, restructures, etc. Chris Jones, his cap hit next year would be about $30 million if you trade for him. I think, could it be like a Joe Thuney situation where you could get him for like a fourth just because the Chiefs might just be looking to shed that money? They got to make a decision on Chris Jones. They either got to restructure him or trade him. My guess is they end up restructuring him. But if they make him available to be a trade, I wouldn't mind buying low on him. And then Trey Hendrickson, there's guesses all over the place on what a contract's going to be. Is it going to be $20 million per year? Is it going to be $32 million per year? Like the Athletic thinks it'll be $33 a year, which if that's the case, I'm passing. But I don't know what the Bears will do, but the answer again is yes, they could make it work, but obviously they'd have to move a lot of money around to get both of those players. All right, Chris Aldridge gets the final word. What's up with Zay Frazier and the release of Tremaine Edmonds and the signing of Kevin Byard? Well, if you watched our video earlier today, earlier on Monday, I should say, Combine Week is a big week for roster management, so they could re-sign Kevin Byard this week. They could release Tremaine Edmonds this week. As far as Zay Frazier goes, Ryan Poles told us at the end of the season that he will be in the offseason program, so he'll have to go earn a roster spot. It will not be given. I can promise you that. He's going to have to earn a spot on the team after missing all of his rookie year as a fifth-round pick a year ago. But liked his physical traits coming out. Taller, lankier, press man corner who can run. Fits Dennis Allen, and he was an Al Harris find. So clearly they thought highly of him, and we'll see if he can prove them right based on the player they thought they were getting when they drafted him. All right, guys, appreciate you so much for chiming in with the Super Chats and the questions. But if you didn't get your question answered or if you have another one, you know where to find me. At HGramNFL, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/HGramNFL, or you can search Harrison Graham Chat Sports to find my page. Give us a follow on social media. DMs are open. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Bear down.
Let us know which player you're watching at the NFL Combine. Which one you got your eye on? Somebody you're really just keened in on how they perform. Just from my draft crushes, Bryce Betcher would probably be one. He, similarly to Jacob Rodriguez, I think plays with really good instincts, really good at diagnosing runs as a linebacker. Question for him is, like, how does he test? Now, he's clearly not the player that Jacob Rodriguez is, but as a later option, I think he's a winning linebacker at the NFL position. So we'll see.
I've seen multiple people talk about him recently on social media as well.
Yeah.
Seems to be a guy that could be gaining some steam. Yeah, we'll see.
You have anybody that you're particularly looking at? I mean, we obviously that you're all looking
these
at.
Defensive tackles intrigue me because, like, I'm struggling with how I want to rank them because I think I do stand by. I think you could make the case for all five of them, really, because I don't think any of them are, like, can't miss guys, but I don't think any of them are, like, ooh, stay away guys either. So, like, who can help separate themselves this week? If all things are equal, I tend to go with the younger guys because, like, McDonald and Hunter are 24.
Yep.
The other guys are 21. I think Miller might be 22 by the start of next season, but the other guys are going to be 21.
Yeah.
So it's like, if it's close, I'd probably just take the guy that's a couple years younger. So the testing will be big, and I do wonder if a guy like Banks could explode at the Combine. I just dominate. So he's going to be a big one to watch. The medical will be big. Obviously, we probably won't have access to that unless something big pops up like, Shamar Turner last year having to have surgery. Hopefully he doesn't need another surgery. I'm talking about Caleb Banks, but I'm very interested with this defensive tackle group. Who's your favorite guy after this top five? And would you agree this is the top five?
Yeah, I mean, those five, I think, certainly all have their pros and cons. You've kind of highlighted them throughout either the mock drafts or just kind of the, different videos that you've made. I like Dante Corleone, the Godfather, out of Cincinnati. I think he provides some nice pros as a run defender.
What about Orange?
Oh, yeah, Dominic. Big Citrus? Yeah, we love Big Citrus.
We love Big Citrus.
Love Big Citrus. Think he's got a good personality. He's a guy that a little quicker, similar to Hunter, that he's for as big as he is, he's quicker than you think.
Yeah.
These guys are certainly, again, in their own tier. Dominic Orange, I really do like. Dante Corleone, those would probably be in that next group. I'm trying to think. I know there's some other ones that I really like, but I think these are the top 5.
Darrell Jackson's been moving.
Yeah,
up
to Florida
boards.
State. Yeah, he's probably more of a round 3 guy. Think he's going to be somebody that is going to contribute to a defensive line for years to come. Don't know if he's quite in that round 2 range personally.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Let's see here. Bang, bang. Like I said, likely Hunter, Darrell Jackson could be interesting.
Grayson Holton had a good Senior Bowl week.
Yeah, out of Oklahoma.
Could he sneak into day 2, or is he still probably like an early day 3
depending
guy?
on how he tests, right? I mean, this is make or break. Certainly think he's a little lighter at 292 or around 290, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like him, though. I really do. Interested to see how Albert Regis out of Texas A&M.
He's a big boy.
He's a big dude.
He's a big boy. I thought about doubling down with him in my last mock.
Yeah.
Because I think he kind of reminds me of Billings.
Mm.
Just kind of a bowling ball run stopper.
Yeah. Xavier Harris, I'm interested to see how he does.
He's massive, dude.
Massive.
Curious to see what his testing looks like.
Yeah. I think, just if you're the Bears, like, I doubt, knocking on wood for luck, I doubt all 5 of these guys, like, none of them will be available at 25. Certainly some of them will get selected, I think, before the Bears pick, if they do.
My guess is 2 or 3 of these guys, well, between 1 and 3 will be available at 25. I think
Chris McClellan, too, out of Missouri. He's another guy. I think he could potentially solidify himself into, potentially that next group.
If I had to guess right now, I think Banks and Woods are gone by 2025, and then the other 3 could, but at least 1 out of those 3 will make it. I just think D-Tack has become kind of one of those premium positions, so in a draft like this, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those dudes went like 22 or something.
If Lee Hunter, someone believes in his athletic, because he's got the tools to be a pass rushing defensive tackle. He just hasn't developed anything outside of a bull rush and a swipe. I think he's got some, again, older prospect.
Yeah.
He'll be interesting to see because I've seen him go as high. I've seen him go in the teens in some mocks. Now, I don't think he'll probably go there. I think he's probably more in the 20s. I mean, imagine if one of these guys slipped to day 2.
Yeah.
I mean, they would jump right up to the top of the big board.
I just want to know, like, how confident are these teams in can McDonald develop anything as a pass rusher? Because I just haven't seen it. Like,
he to me is like the highest floor out of all these guys, but he also might have the lowest ceiling.
Yeah.
Which,
like, he's a guy I feel like in a better draft is like he goes where like Jervon Dexter went, like 50th, not
maybe
25th.
Yeah. Christian Miller's interesting. Again, younger.
Plenty of tread on the tires because they rotate a lot at Georgia.
There's a lot to like there. There's a lot to like. It wouldn't shock me.
Now, he's probably a guy, if you're looking for someone to help right away, it might take a year.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas could Lee Hunter help you right away even if he's not like a star?
Yeah.
Like you just plug him into your rotation. So all those things come into play when you're making these decisions.
Rank us in the chat real quickly, guys. These 5 players, rank them 1 through 5. Just in your personal opinion, if you had to order them 1 through 5. So Woods, Banks, McDonald, Hunter, Miller. In y'all's opinion.
Yeah. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I think that's a good call with Darrell Jackson. I think if I had to say my next tier after this, it would be The Godfather, Big Citrus, Darrell Jackson, and then probably Chris McClellan. Those are like 4 that I feel pretty confident in that next tier on day 2.
Yeah. I think the way I have it there is how I would order it, even though that wasn't by design.
Just subconsciously just worded it that way.
I want to see the Woods measurables
Banks to me,
he's older, so I've cooled a little on him. I like 2 weeks ago, I was like, he's my guy. I didn't realize. I thought he was like 22 turning 23. He's
older.
He turned. Oh, okay. He is 22 turning 23. Okay, that's fine. Where did I read he was 24? He'll be 23 next month. That's okay.
From a bad source.
It's probably Gruck.
Lee right Hunter. Someone says
Lee Hunter turns 24 in July, which still isn't terrible.
Yeah. He's an older prospect.
Okay. If the medical checks out with Banks, he could be the top guy.
Yeah.
Because I think he's 6'6", 325, maybe 330, and I think he's pretty fucking athletic. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what when I watch the tape, I'm like, and again, I'm not a scout, but I like to think I know somewhat what I'm looking at. Like, he seems pretty explosive to me. But we'll see what the testing says, and I don't have access to the medical information.
Yeah. A lot of people are agreeing with your kind of initial rankings here, which is fine. I'd probably, to be honest, if I had to rank these guys.
I know you're lower on Woods.
Yeah, to me, his year this year,
didn't have a great year.
You nailed it. I don't love having a down year and immediately saying, well, you're the best guy on the board.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah.
When you're comparable. And again, he had TJ Parker also on that same defensive line. They had talented. And again, I know Clemson in general underachieved. It's not just Woods, but that to me gives me just a little pause of okay, I get the ability, I get that you're young. What didn't click for you?
I'll also say his 2024 season is probably better than any individual season from this group. Maybe Hunter this year, but Miller didn't play enough. McDonald has not shown that as a pass rusher. And Banks was starting to come on last year, but then he got hurt. So
yeah,
I think Woods' 2024 season is the best among any of the defensive tackles. And so it's okay, is this past year more of who he is moving forward, or did Clemson just have this weird, funky season and it just didn't work? I don't know.
I think I probably would have Banks as my number one. I get the injury history, but you're telling me if the guy's healthy, which we're assuming health.
If his foot checks out, I would probably agree with you.
After that, it's kind of a three-way, you could argue, between Woods, McDonald, and Hunter for me. Miller, too. I don't want to discredit Miller.
We just haven't seen a ton.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I need to see a little bit more before I'm ready to
He feels like a guy, if he went back to Georgia and came out next year,
he could be
like a top 10 pick.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He could. I'm not saying Jalen Carter, but he could have that type of rise where he goes from a fringe round one to oh, this guy's the best defensive tackle in the country.
Yeah. And again, McDonald's probably your safest bet here, but how much upside does he have? Hunter, I really like if under the right development, but either way, I think at minimum he's a really good run defender in the NFL. And Woods is kind of okay, I'm not sure what I'm getting, but I understand the allure there.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
the good news about Woods is it's not I don't think his floor is that low. He's a good run defender as well. So I think he could come in and at least defend the run. It's just can those pass rush flashes turn into more consistent play?
Oh, speaking of which, I saw this in the chat when you were actually talking about Woods. For those of you who are wondering, because Harry made the point of he kind of switched from a one tech to a three tech. If you're unfamiliar with that terminology, a one tech is basically somebody that lines more on the interior of the near the center, on one of their shoulders.
More A-gap responsibility.
Yeah, more A-gap responsibility. Usually a bigger defensive tackle. Although it's nice if you're kind of mobile at that size. You're more of kind of the anchor that takes on double teams. Whereas your three tech, you're going to be lined up normally outside the guard's shoulder, and you have the potential to have more one-on-ones. You're kind of more looked at as the athletic version of the defensive tackle more often than less. So those are kind of the main differences between a one tech and a three tech.
Yeah, I mean, there's a side by side that someone put together where the left side is him in 2024, and he's just this pudgy D tack.
Yeah,
and he was better that year, and this year it's he's ripped. So. Again, I do think that could benefit him long term. It's okay, now he's got a year at each position under his belt, but what do teams view him as? Do they want to put 10 pounds back on him and play him more as a one tech, or is it hey, settle in around 305, 310, let's play at the three tech?
You also kind of nailed it. there's no, Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, like true disruptor defensive tackle that's like going to be a dominant force, at least projecting wise that you feel confident in.
Yeah.
However, if I am going to make one of those a claim that is going to be like the high, like Pro Bowl, dare I say, all pro upside, Caleb Banks to me is just like staring me at the face. Just
Yeah. If he hits, he has all pro potential.
Yeah, I would agree.
So
I would agree.
All right.
All right, cool. We'll get Alex up on the screen. Just saw that you sent in a super chat from Mr. Ammerling. Oh, we changed his profile picture. What's up, dude?
Thank you, Alex.
He says, Woods and McDonald are my top 2 defensive tackles. For edge, give me Mesidor or Parker.
I wish Mesidor was 22. It's just hard justifying taking an edge rusher that's going to be 25 as much as I like him, because that's almost always a position that you need at least a year in the NFL before it starts to click. Now, maybe being a 6-year college guy, maybe it clicks quicker for him and he can help as a rookie. But, like, if it doesn't and it's not clicking until, like, mid-late year 2 or year 3, it's like, well, okay, it's clicking. But now he's 27, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not against it in a draft like this because I do think he has a chance to be really freaking good.
Right.
But if it's kind of a half hit, I'd rather half hit on a 21-year-old that can still continue to develop than a 25-year-old who, by the end of his rookie contract, especially if you do a 5th-year option, is approaching 30.
Yeah.
So that's the concern there.
But
if you love the player and you think he can help you right away, then you don't worry about the second contract right away. It's like, hey, can this guy help me in this 5-year rookie contract? We'll figure out the rest later. So,
and that's the flip side, right? If you're the Bears, who, again, you're coming off a divisional loss to the Los Angeles Rams, where you were neck and neck with a team that went to the NFC title game, are you just saying, hey, BPA, we're trying to capitalize on this window right now, and we think Mesidor is the best player for 2026, and, we're, again, development aside, like, clearly, like, that's going to be something you deal with down the line, but something you think about, right? Like, again, if you don't get
if the Bears were 6-11, I don't even think he's on your radar. But if you think he could help you get over the hump in these next couple of years, then I think you absolutely have to take him or consider taking him. Like the Bills at 26 should absolutely take him if he's there, right? Like, have
unless,
the Bears
like, our receivers there that they really love.
Yeah, have the Bears entered that category of like, hey, like, even if this plays out where he's only a 5-year guy here, is that worth the 25th pick? In a draft like this, if he's solid, even if he's not special, the answer to that might be yes, where normally the answer to that's probably no. Like, when you draft in the first round, you want a guy that you're going to for sure give a second contract to.
Yep.
But the reality of that is that happens half the time at most for first-round picks. So if you think this guy can help you in the near term and you're unsure about his long-term future with you, I mean, it's not like it's a 1-year deal. You have him for at least 4 years. So, I think it's if you're that high on the player, and I do like his tape a lot, then you absolutely should consider it.
Someone's asking, when does the Combine start? So here are all the important dates to know if you're a Bears fan. Tuesday, a.k.a. tomorrow. Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, we'll talk. We will have those pressers up on the channel, so make sure you guys subscribe. Turn on
Poles talks at 9:15 Central, so by the time we get it from the boys in Indy, we'll probably have it out by about 10 o'clock. So turn on noties, and then Ben Johnson's at 10:30 Central, so 11:15, 11:30. Get that out for you guys. Usually they talk about 15 minutes. So
Kidda says, let's just draft Shamar Stewart.
Did he do anything this year?
He was very ineffective, from what I understand.
Let's see what the advanced metrics say.
Advanced.
He had 13 pressures on 161 pass rush snaps. That's less than 10% pass rush win rate.
It's not great.
And his run defense grade, you ready? Dead last, 115th out of 115 edge rushers, 29.3. Who could have seen that coming?
And again, you go to a situation in Cincinnati, which is known for developing defensive players.
Yep. And the ones they do develop,
Sarcasm.
they let leave. Jesse Bates, or they don't pay. Trey Hendrickson. What a stout organization.
It's just truly unbelievable. All right. We've got one final segment here. We are talking some trade rumors.
Yeah, Bleacher Report put some trade ideas out there, and the Bears were involved in multiple of them. So we will dive into that next. Let's talk some trade buzz, and then we'll get out of here. I'm Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now, here to react to some trade rumors from Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report did an article for one trade every team should make this offseason. The Bears were mentioned in 4 of the 32 trade ideas because, again, beyond the one they had for the Bears, other trades included the Bears, if that makes sense. We'll go through them here. And as we know, Ryan Poles, not one to be afraid to make some trades. So let's kind of dive into each of these 4 trade ideas that the Bears are linked to and give some reaction. So the first one was the one they had for the Bears specifically, and that was to trade for Cardinals safety Budda Baker, who's got 30 years old, so he's getting a little older. Now, he's not quite Kevin Byard age, but when you factor in, hey, you're going to give up a 3rd-round pick this year and a 4th-round pick next year for a guy who I think is making like $18 million per year. I like Budda Baker. I don't like him that much. I think his best days are behind him. I thought Kevin Byard this year was just a better player than Budda Baker. Now, obviously, Byard played for a much better team, and Baker was still good. I mean, he was among the league lead in tackles among safeties, still covers pretty well on the back end, but I thought Byard was more effective and definitely made more splash plays, had 7 picks, 8 breakups, really good in run support this year too, one of the better years of Byard's career in that regard. So if you're telling me 3rd and a 4th-round pick for Budda Baker and bring on $18 million per year, or just re-sign Kevin Byard for probably like $8 to $10 million, kind of feels like an easy decision. Like I would much rather re-sign Kevin Byard. It feels like Budda Baker's been connected to trades forever, and I think the Cardinals missed their window on getting proper value for him. So I'm not that interested, and I'm definitely not interested at those draft pick price tags of a 3rd this year and a 4th next year. The name of a player that the Bears should trade for, and one other safety I'll mention is, like, you might be able to get Mika Fitzpatrick for like a 4th or a 5th. $15.6 million this year, and I think a better player than Budda Baker. Why would I trade a 3rd and a 4th to Arizona? I'm good on that. So if there's a player you want to trade for, let me know who it is. Okay, the Panthers trade idea was trading for Cole Kmet from the Chicago Bears. So this was the trade idea from Bleacher Report. Cole Kmet, I just wrote this backwards. This is on me. Cole Kmet to the Panthers in return for a 2026 5th-round pick. So visualize that backwards. Colin, while I'm rambling here, make sure I didn't do the same thing on the other trades, please. Now, from a financial perspective, this would save $8.4 million for Chicago, which we've outlined. But I don't understand why, and listen, the Bleacher Report, some national guy who's trying to do a trade for every team. So I get it from that perspective, but I don't think anyone watching the Bears closely, at least shouldn't be doing this, understands what Cole Kmet's value is to this team. The Bears are among the league leaders in 12 and 13 personnel. What does that mean? 2 tight ends on the field, 3 tight ends on the field. I understand Colson Loveland is here now. Cole Kmet is not going to put up 600-800 yards in this offense moving forward. His days of catching 60, 70 balls are probably over, but I think he can give you what he gave this year, and probably a little bit more, honestly. I think he can be closer to 35, 40 catches. And you know what stands out from his receiving production this year is efficiency. Career high in yards per reception at 11.6. So, yeah, the volume might be lower because you have Loveland, because you have multiple good receivers, but he's an excellent blocker. He does a lot of the dirty work in the run game and in pass protection as well, and he's still reliable and a reliable target for Caleb Williams, someone that he trusts as well. So, I don't think the casuals out there understand Kmet's value. Now, would I like to bring down his $11.4 or $6 million cap hit for this year? Yes, and I think there's a good chance the Bears will do that by extending him on a 2-year deal, maybe 2 for $16 million, in addition to the 2 years left in his prior deal, and then he's under contract for the next 4 seasons, which still would only get him to age 30 entering his 31-year-old season 4 years from now. So I think Kmet's going to be here. A 5th-round pick is not enough. Now, if some team was like, hey, we'll give you a 2nd, okay, you have to think about that at that point, but that's not realistic, and I'm not trading a 5th-round pick is not more valuable than Cole Kmet, given the fact that, yeah, he makes decent money, but it's not like it's $30 million. Okay, subscribe to the channel. We got daily content, the latest news, rumors. We go live twice a week, live watch parties during the season as well. Don't miss out on any of it. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. All right, check out our sponsor, Ethos. Guys, fellas, listen, it's tough to talk about life insurance. It's not a fun topic to talk about, but it's important, especially if you're like me and you got a family to think about. Thinking about my wife, my child, it made it easier to have these conversations, and I'm so glad I found Ethos as my life insurance provider. Carry a lot of responsibility at home. If something happens to me, there's real consequences. Mortgage payments, everyday bills, tuition. Those things don't just go away. Life can throw you curveballs, and it's best that you stay prepared. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. Ethos has no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, and some policies are as low as $30 per month with Ethos. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Help protect your family with life insurance through Ethos. Get an instant and free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. It is Ethos. Check it out today. All right, next up here is Gervon Dexter to Jacksonville. So this is a pretty interesting one that caught my attention because I thought at the end of the season, I was like, I kind of wonder if Dexter's a guy they might trade. The fit with Dennis Allen's scheme didn't feel like a great one. Wasn't bad, but didn't take that next step. This feels like an overpay, though, from Jacksonville. 81st overall pick for Gervon Dexter, who, again, isn't a bad player. Gives you some pass rush juice as an interior defensive lineman, which those guys don't grow on trees. But again, didn't take a notable step forward from year 2 to year 3, is not very good against the run, and a year from now, you'd have to make a decision on whether or not to keep him long term. I think I would take a 3rd-round pick. If this was on the table, I think I'm taking it and I'm running. Now, I'm not just, as soon as I get the call, I'll take it right away, but that's something I probably discussed with my staff, with DA, and in the end, the conclusion I'm probably coming to is, hey, Gervon Dexter, nice 3 seasons, but didn't see that next step. I'm probably going to pivot here. And, yeah, it creates another need at defensive tackle, but it's not like Gervon Dexter it looks like a future All-Pro here. I've said this for a while now. He's a serviceable starter who flashes. I think he'd be an excellent 3rd defensive tackle. A guy just pass rush, NASCAR package, boom, bring him in, come rush the passer. But whether Dexter is here or not, the Bears need to bolster this defensive tackle group. Grady Jarrett's a fine veteran. He's overpaid, though. We know that. Gervon Dexter entering a contract year, and you don't really have much else. I don't think Andrew Billings is going to be back. We'll see, do Shamar Turner and Dio Odengbo factor into that position? Probably a little bit, but they both are coming off injuries and have position flex, so we don't know if the Bears are going to use them more as edge rushers or D-tacks. I'd be looking to bolster that group and get a 3rd-round pick for Gervon Dexter. Maybe you turn that into a guy like Darrell Jackson and restart the contract clock. So I would be interested in that if that was on the table. All right, and then lastly, DJ Moore to Las Vegas. And no, it is not to bring back Max Crosby. The trade idea here is just DJ Moore to the Raiders for a 4th-round pick. And people might be underwhelmed by that. I think that's probably about what you're looking at here if you trade DJ for just a draft pick. Now, I think he can be more productive than he was this year on a team with less weapons, or even in Chicago. It wouldn't shock me if he's back next year, if he's more in like the 800-yard range. But just given the crowded room with Burden and Rome, and you got obviously Colston Loveland at tight end, you still have Cole Kmet, and given his contract as well, his value is probably just that, like a 4th, maybe even a 5th-round pick, depending on the team. Now, I'm not just giving DJ Moore away, but again, if I'm looking to trade for Max Crosby or to spend big money on an edge rusher, Trading DJ Moore helps you do that because it saves you $16.5 million. And yes, I know you can restructure him. We've discussed that. But then you're in this predicament next year. Like, do you cut or do you trade or restructure again a year from now? Because the more you kick the can down the road, the harder it gets to pivot out of that contract. So if he's traded separately from a player trade coming back to the Bears, it's probably what you're looking at, 4th or a 5th round pick, because a big part of it would be lowering the cap charge for 2026. Will DJ Moore get traded? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Feels like it's a coin flip. I could see it going either way. Those discussions probably taking place in Indianapolis this week in terms of what the Bears want to do. All right, guys, appreciate you for being here, and thanks to everyone who made it to the end of the episode. We will continue to pump out Bears content on a daily basis, so hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Bear down. All right, before we get out of here, we are going to plug our merch one more time, chatsports.com/Bears shop. That link is in the live chat, chatsports.com/Bears shop. Hoodies, T-shirts, they're all available. The hoodies are available in black and navy. You can also get the green T-shirt if you want just the full green theme, if you want to rock it on St. Patty's Day. But the river has you covered. There's some green in there. You're good to go. No one does St. Patty's better than Chicago, so represent. You got the channel logo there in the neck as well, the collar area. So chatsports.com/Bears shop. You can find all our other merch there as well. We appreciate the love, the support, the feedback, and go get yourself some Green River gear today. Chatsports.com/Bears shop. Check out the Iceman gear once you go to that link. That link, just to be clear, is going to take you to the full shop. But these will be the first items you see, the hoodies and T-shirts for the St. Patty's Green River gear. So check it out today. All right, we are going to get out of here shortly. Again, tomorrow, Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson. We will have those press conferences up on the channel. Chat Sports has boots on the ground in Indianapolis, so we will bring you those pressers. And then we'll have another video later in the afternoon. So the channel won't just be press conferences tomorrow. We'll have some more content as well. Mid-morning, Ryan Poles. Late morning, Ben Johnson. Video from me in the afternoon. That's kind of the game plan for now. If there's breaking news, we'll adjust. But that is where things sit. Looks like we got a super chat from Kamani Moody. The real OG fans of HG and Bears now remember calling in on the show with Colin. That was fun. Crazy how far the channel has come. FGB and Bear Down. I would still like to do some kind of call in, not necessarily that app, but call in type of show. I think if I can make one recommendation to YouTube, it would be to add a link function for live streams where you could call into shows. I think that would be. Now, I think you'd have to add some kind of delay on it in case someone you guys know what I'm talking about, says something completely egregious and gives us, we would need an option to dump, kind of like radio stations have, like a 20-second delay, and dump the call without it going live. But it seems like an easy thing where you can just say, hey, do you want to be on a 30-second delay and have a call-in function? Yes. Okay, cool. That would be that'd be something I think would be a cool addition to YouTube if they ever had it. So.
Agreed.
All right, Kamani, appreciate you on that. Appreciate all the super chats and everybody for tuning in. Busy week, busy show tomorrow, busy day or shows tomorrow with the press conferences and whatnot. We'll see what Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles reveal. If there's major news from those as well, we'll, of course, break that down when we do our individualized show, so stay tuned for that. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys soon. Bear down.